Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. The Divine Masculine Twin Flame read is before you. The download was insane today. I'm hoping that I can get it across to you in a very clear way because it was a little bit technical but very beautiful in the way it was coming across. I did remember some dream again this morning, which is unusual for me, which is very cool. I woke up at 8:58. 58 is the Four of Swords, which has to do with the 5D connecting in meditation. And the dream I had was very romantic, and also Russia was coming up within that, so Russia might be coming up today. The SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut at 10:04, which is 10:4. Message received, good buddy. It actually has a different meaning. I think it has a homosexual connotation these days, but when I was growing up, that's what it meant. And then at 10:07, I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck. Oh, excuse me, the deck was cut at 10:04, and at 10:07, I was getting the message of the Emperor. And in the SIRIAN Starseed deck, which is the main deck for this read, he looks like he's giving up his false hand. So he was literally passing his false hand down to the Knight of Pentacles, who the Divine Masculine sees himself as today, who alchemizes it into the diamond crystalline light proposal. So some very romantic energies coming up here between my dream and that. And then I finished doing the read at 10:23, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 23 of the King of Wands that came up in a very significant way today. Number-wise and just energy-wise, because the King of Wands is in the read there, and he ends up in the Shaman energy, which is the SIRIAN Starseed deck again. The King of Wands is very Shaman in this deck. So, and the number 23 also coming up as significant. So the message and the code line were all about financial discipline today. We had the major arcanas of Starseed, which is the Fool, Alchemy, which is the Temperance card, Guidance, which is the Hierophant, Justice, Reason is the Emperor, Higher Self is the High Priestess. And then before the read, because I do pull a few cards on either end based on my guidance, we had before the read Transition, which is the Death card, Luna, the Moon, and then after the read, the Solar Deity or the Sun card came up. So there's a lot of major arcana there. We had 2 swords, 2 pentacles, 1 wand. There were no cups in this read, which was very interesting. And then it is all about financial discipline, so that would make sense. But it was, well balanced other than that there's no cups, though. No emotions in the financial discipline message today. And then the court card was the Knight of Pentacles, was the only court card in the read. We did have the King of Wands come up just after the read. And that was it, just the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Wands. But the Emperor was significant here because he did come up in the main cards. And the Empress they were both reversed, the Emperor and the Empress. They were both reversed. But the Lovers and the 2 Cups were both upright, guys, and so was the Star card. There's a lot of actual good news in this read today, so bear with me. We had the code being all about financial discipline on the code line. The numbers that came up, we had double 8s today, was the most significant double. We also had double 4s. 45, which is the 5 of Cups, also letting go of that third baton to either finish the race or start over again. And in a lesser sense, the 23 of the King of Wands, the 34 of the 8 of Wands, and the 58 also, which is that 4 of Swords that I already mentioned because I woke up at 8:58, and 89 in a lesser sense. And the 22-21 of the Fool and then the World, so completion and that leap to a new start, and sometimes, you may jump the gun, so that first leap, you may actually fall on your face, but then you just get back up on the horse again and you try again. So regarding financial discipline, there were no numbers on this line today for the Divine Masculine here. I didn't even finish this code line, interpreting it until I finished the read because it took me in such a detailed direction as soon as I got past the first 2 words. But the first 2 words were Jesus TV. So that's like, this is Jesus TV bringing through downloaded messages to you guys. So the connection or the bridging to Jesus and God, and this is for the Divine Masculine, it's his message. They were kind of joking in the message that came through here The Jesus TV in the EI connection, also having to do with the bridge connection, Jesus to God. God, of course, who's very good at, and they're being funny here, at unity consciousness. United we rise, divided we fall. Sophia being the key to alchemizing the high, or the divine DNA that takes you higher. So that was the advice to the masculine. The divine feminine collective consciousness, the Sophia energy, is the key to alchemizing the high, the DNA of a very high vibration, taking you higher. You must use your divine feminine energy. So where this took me to was crazy. First, the EIC was coming up. EIG for me is code, bridge, and gateway, because it's the Euro-India gateway. But then I was getting, it really wasn't EIG, it was EIC, and I was looking up some acronyms for that. So the earned income credit came up, which is very significant because we're at the end of the year, which means you're going to start your taxes soon, so don't forget to see if you qualify for earned income credit. And also Energy Industry Council came up. Okay, so that's important, just energy, and us being energy masters, right? And then an oak furniture store came up from Tennessee Enterprises, Inc. And then the last thing on the page, I was going to close the page because nothing significant was coming up, and then my eyes went down to the last one on the page, which was exponential integral, which is math, and it's definitely over my head, but it took me in such a cool direction I had to share this with you. So the definition of the exponential integral is one particular definite integral of ratio between an exponential function and its argument, or the polarization, the opposite. So the formula, I wrote down the formula that was there, and then I interpreted the formula using my alphabet, because I have a whole alphabet of capital letters and lowercase letters as a special code from all of the downloads that I've received, as well as the numbers, but this was taking me more into some more of the symbols and what they meant. So so they also showed some graphs of an example of what the problem, how it looks visually. And it's really just showing, you know, in a way, it's showing the opposite ways of doing things, coming to the same point, I suppose. But the one side of the function, or the problem here, was the E, the lowercase I, times X, the mathematical X, which has little curves on either side, but the X in parentheses, okay? So we have EI and then parentheses X, and that's on one side of the equal sign, and the other side of the equal sign are several sub formulas. One is function, I think it's the function, it looks like a long S, not so much the F but an S, but it's long and extended, and at the top of that is the infinity symbol, and the bottom of that is minus X, and there's also a minus sign before that function. And then the third section is E minus T in lowercase letters over T times dt. Okay, so this is the problem I'm going to interpret for you. And where this took me was very, very cool. So for me, the capital E is Elohim, it's the Eve, it's the divine feminine energy in the chakra system, okay? And the X is exponential, it also relates to the X, or the karmic energy. And also, guys, 0 point was very much wrapped up in this message here. But the divine feminine chakra system and the X, so it's the divine chakra system, or the divine feminine, times the X, and the times is the same as X, right, because they're both X's, which also means exponential, equals minus Sophia holding both the twin flames together at one end, and minus the X at the other. So the small letter E, you know, I always tell you that the 0 is the human embodiment of source energy. So if you take that 0 and you crack it open, that becomes the C. And the lowercase e is when the human opens itself like that, like the C, except they get scared to fully open themselves, and so they collapse back upon themselves, and that becomes the lowercase e. So the lowercase e is someone who's cracked their heart open, but then crawls back inside a little bit because they're afraid to expose themselves fully. And so it collapses back on itself. So again, reminding you of the discussion yesterday about timelines collapsing. And then the T comes up, because that's also the plus sign, comes up as the persecutor. It can be the prosecutor as well. So let's see here. So the E, the lowercase e was coming up as E minor, minus the T, which is, so it's E minus T over T. So normally if you have T over T, you know, you could cancel them both out. But you can't cancel out minus T over T. So I couldn't cancel out the T's just to get the E there. So instead, it's the E minus, and then the T's cancel out, and that lowercase e and minus becomes E minor. And the T being the persecutor. So we took them out of the equation, except then we still had DT, which is DTs, so somebody could be going through alcohol withdrawal with DTs. But it's the E now times DT. So the Divine Masculine reaching up, but like the letter D, it's imbalanced, right? Because pi is the circle with the line through it. So if you have the line off to the side, to the Divine Masculine side or the right side, it's imbalanced, but it is still the Divine Masculine reaching up to the etheric realms. There's no Divine Feminine balanced with that position there, and it's also visually the music note, the 0 with the line up, and the persecutor, which is then out of tune. So the feminine is E minor here, and the masculine is out of tune because they're not centered. Because, so then the equation becomes that EI with the X in parentheses becomes the Divine Feminine times the X, or the karmic, equals Sophia, that big S or function sign, not holding all of her children, times E minor times the Divine Masculine out of tune, because she's got a minus in front of her. So because the Divine Feminine and the karmic aren't getting along, it causes the Divine Mother, the Sophia, the Godmother, right, not holding all of her children, because they're exponentially against each other. The E minor and then the Divine Masculine is out of tune. So one causes the other, the multiplication. So it's taking us then to the expansion and the contraction again, the multiplying without divide. It's about all of these things happening, the opposites, the explosion and the implosion happening all at the same time. That's the 0 point, the collapse, the vacuum into the vortex. You can't multiply if you don't divide. And what's another word for divide? Split. So you can't multiply if you don't divide. But I went to write first, but that's not true, because you can't multiply. You know, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? The multiplying or the dividing? And think about this in the realm of a cell splitting. Which comes first, the multiply or the divide? You don't know, because they happen simultaneously. That's the quantum leap. You must divide or split the same time as multiplying. And then I was getting, I got chills, they're multiplying. So this is referencing the same thing, and it was at 11:09. I got chills is ice, and they're multiplying is fire, the expansion, and losing control because the power you're supplying is electrifying, right? Which is too much fire, which becomes then, instead of 11:09, becomes the reflection of that 911, the emergency. So 11:09 is justice and then the hermit, but it's the 1 and the 1 of two balanced chakra systems, and then the 9, which would be then an imbalanced grounding of the masculine. But if you start with the 9 of the 9, which is the imbalanced masculine, right, grounding into Gaia from the right side first, then you're starting with a poor foundation, and then you go into the 2 1s, which are balanced chakra systems. It doesn't matter because you've already made a mess with the foundation. So that's where you get into the emergency. So divide and split, that equals, you know, the division symbols, the line with the dot on the top and the bottom, or the square root symbol of, when you divide something into something and you actually do it by hand. You multiply or expand, and that equals the x to the 2, or to the nth degree, right? Exponentially. It was very interesting here because in order to combine the multiplying and the dividing at the same time, I put the symbols together to see what came up, and there's 2 different symbols that came up for us. One was the x inside the square root sign, or the division sign, which is literally housing the x. The other symbol is the x with the division sign becomes the pi, but it actually becomes a form of the yin-yang symbol, because you have the 2 dots in the same place as the yin-yang symbol, and instead of the lines there's no perpendicular, there's no perpendicular line here because the dots are there, but the other lines in the pi are there, so the horizontal line and then the x. So it looks like a pi when you look at it if you put a circle around it with the 2 dots. And the 2 dots are not lines because those are representing the masculine and the feminine twins. So the twins are represented by the division sign. The line with the dot above and below represent the third eyes of the twins coming to the table, which is mediated because it's not toggled up or anchored down. It has come together to 0 point. So that's representative of the twin flames, the division sign. So when we add the division sign to the X, or the karmic, the twin flames to the karmic, which is also referenced as the third energy, the flower of life is grounded and enlightened, mothering Gaia and fathering sunshine. Okay? So it becomes the flower of life. It's got 6 petals because the 2 dots are there, becoming the 7th and 8th petals, the masculine and the feminine third eyes. So it was also referencing that I always ask this too, if the flower of life is 6 petals, when I was a child, why was I always drawing the 8-petaled flower? Because that's what I used to draw constantly when I was in elementary school. And here they were showing me, because as you come into your twin flame energy, it rises from the 6 to the 8. So the flower of life grounded and enlightened, because you have the dots on both sides, on the grounding side and the etheric realm side, mothering Gaia and fathering sunshine, and grounding the etheric grid. The symbol is bringing the grid down and, grounding it into Gaia. So the 3D couple can be referenced as, it was showing me all different ways of showing you this. It all comes down to the same thing, to the 0 point, the collapsing of the opposites into the vacuum. So when you have an X, the Y is already included. So you'd think that the feminine is all, right, because it's more than the Y, and then the Y is part of the X, or the feminine, the masculine and the feminine. However, when you put one Y and one X together, you get a man, you don't get a woman, because the male is dominating. However, one can't be a human without the X chromosome. So in other words, they're saying you can't be human without either one of them, okay? You can't be human without the X chromosome, and you can't be male without the Y, and that's actually dominant over the feminine energy there, okay? Because the feminine has 2 X chromosomes. All right, so, and that can be very judgmental because it's XX, the judgment card. So all about 0 point. The point of the human is 0 point. So if you draw a 0 and you put a point in the middle, that becomes the I. To see, the number 2 and the letter C. 2 humans cracked open and holding each other face to face. And if you put 2 C's together, it literally becomes a heart. So, and remember, the heart isn't actually pointed at the bottom, okay? But it has that energy of 2 people. The way I drew it went right into, it looks like 2 people's arms connecting together, and then their faces like mushed face to face. So the point of the human is the circle and the dot in the middle, which is 0 point. To see, the number 2 and the letter C. two people cracked open and holding each other face to face. So ice plus fire equals 1109, justice and peace, moderation. Ice times fire equals 9/11, the ice age frozen in time or mass destruction. The 9 equals the human divine masculine, grounded but is off balance, with 2 balanced ones, like I explained to you already, without etheric connection. If 2 are balanced first, then the grounding is in the safe zone. So it's all about that stable foundation. Then I told you also that DTs were coming up. That's part of the formula. Which came first, the chicken or the egg, having to do with the quantum leap. And then as we go from the plus to the times sign, I was literally getting the faucet, you know, like when you have the old-fashioned faucet with the cross handle, and you turn the faucet, it was sending another message. So then I turn the page and I'm defining the different symbols as they build upon each other. So the line straight across has always been the support system, right? It's the toggling up, the grounding down, the anchoring, and fusing the two, or they both come into 0 point at that moderation point, okay? Instead of going to extremes, you bring them to the middle. So toggling up or anchoring down, the line across or the minus sign literally shows your support system, your stability. Then you have the plus sign. And also the minus sign is the divine feminine, the E minor, because she tends towards the sad or the depression. Then you have the plus sign of the prosecutor or the persecutor. That's also the cross, right? That they hung Jesus on the cross. So it's a perfect description of it. We have the masculine energy of the prosecutor of the plus sign and the feminine energy of the E minor in the minus sign, collapsing, toggle up, and anchoring down. I was also getting E minor and Asia minor. So Tibet was coming up here with the Dalai Lama, which came up yesterday again. Because, you know, of course, the Dalai Lama's had issues of staying in Chinese territory because the Indians are much more accepting of preserving his status than the Chinese government is. So, you know, you can read up on that kind of stuff. And you can also look up this equation too, the EI, the integral equation, to see all the letters, to see how I'm getting all of this. But the plus sign is a balanced chakra system. So it's the minus of the grounding or the housing, or in other words, and then the vertical line is the balanced chakra system. So it's saying with the plus sign, because that's masculine, the minus sign is feminine, that the plus sign is balanced chakra system, so you can get turned on more easily, right? Because you have you know, if you only have one handle, it's harder to turn on than if you have the 2 handles, because, you know, it's easier to turn on. So if you think in terms of a faucet handle. So, like I said, the balanced chakra system, you can get turned on more easily as far as a faucet in order to allow the flow. And then when you turn it on, it becomes the X, or the multiplication symbol, or the X as the karmic energy, okay? So now we have the E minor of the divine feminine, the prosecutor of the divine masculine, and then the X is the X. The drama, the exponential, the multiplied, the expansion, which requires division, divide, split, the square root housing, an even, you know, 50-50 split. Coming to the table, stabilized in moderation, with 2 heads and third eyes of two intuitives, becomes that, like I said, the X inside the housing of the square root symbol, or the division symbol, equals also the other division symbol of the line with the 2 dots on either side, with the X combined with it. It also integrates the hourglass symbol within that, with an escape hatch, the leap, the shifting of dimensions in the portal between, like the hourglass. It's also like the veins and the valves. So the part of the vein between the valves, where you can, it's like an escape hatch between valves, like the middle of the hourglass. There's an escape hatch, a leap, a shifting of dimensions in the portal, the throughway, the passage, the connection. And I was getting 2 heads and 6 eyes, and then they were taking me into a place of equating numbers with letters. And also the flower of life, the 6 petals become 8 when the twin flame energy becomes involved. So when you go through your awakening. So then we had the numbers of 68, but also 80 was coming up for me. And the C being the human with the open heart perpetually, right? The E collapses upon itself because it fears exposing itself fully, but the C stays open heart perpetually with no fear. So different little associations were coming up for me, but it ended up with the 2. It was very interesting because the 2D becomes like a D and a B. So it looks like, you know, the male sexual parts, right? But yet one is smaller than the other, being the feminine and the masculine. So the 2C then becomes the D, because 2 looks like a D. The C on top of the D then becomes a note. So if you have a note with the stem and then the little curly Q or the C at the top, that's also referencing only one testicle or an 8th note. And there's the 8 of the dance, learning and doing the heart dance. Then the number 25 was coming up because it's the only number that you can do back and forth. It's still the same number if you do it in block style. So like on your clock when it comes up in block, 25, if you flip it, it's still the same number. So all sorts of variations of that were coming up, as well as the 8 being the block 8, which is like a window, which is another escape hatch, the window of opportunity, the escape hatch, the 2 and the 5 together, which is also the Knight of Wands. And of course, referencing again, the 8 is just, you know, the dance between the masculine and feminine, and getting into that flow in a perpetual way, co-creating. So then with these numbers, the different cards that were coming up was very interesting. It was coming down to, here, then I got a, that was so weird. That was after that. I can't believe that was after that. I was getting from 25 and 52, and that was 26. First, I was getting from, let's see, 26 was coming up because that's the Page of Pentacles, and then the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands is 25, and the Page of Pentacles is 68. So 25 and 68 were both coming up as significant numbers. The Student of Inspiration and Travel, and then 62 and 21 were coming up from these letter number combinations, which is the 8 of Swords in the world. And then I was getting the 8 of Swords, which I would never think of this as, except for that it came up in this read. 8 of Swords is being in prison, right? The cell. And we were just talking about the human cell splitting. So now 8 of Swords is literally the human cell and the world with many human cells on the planet. And we start out the read with the 8 of Swords, which was really cool. And then the last set was coming up as 723/57, which is the Chariot on either side, the 7. Well, it's just 7 and 23. And King of Wands is the 23. So that's the King of Wands and the Chariot, the Master and the Ascension process. It's also the Divine Feminine energy of the Chariot, the vehicle that takes him there. I want to take you there, just like a dream. You are not what you seem. So that was coming up there, but that was also referencing in the code that I just told you. For the masculine, that he needs his Divine Feminine vehicle to take him there, to toggle up. That was the key. So this was very cool stuff. If you have any questions about it for clarification purposes, but again, that symbol of the division with the dots on the top and bottom, and then the X over it, literally, if you put a circle around it, is the same reference as the yin-yang sign. So you can play with that if you'd like. I will put together a technical drawing at some point. So we get started with the read. It's already 29:56. And we have the 8 of orbs here, the 8 of swords, and underneath it was transition, the 9 of pentacles, the sovereign, the 2 of cups is right here, so those are important, the sovereign, the 2 of cups, and then we have the moon, Luna, and then on top is that 8 of orbs, or the cell. So the self-imposed prison, because we choose to be here after the portal transition and transformation to human bodies, to sovereign, in connection before the sun. So you can spell that S-U-N or S-O-N, like coming before God. But it was supposed to be before the sun from 3 to 4 to 5 a.m. in the morning, right before the sun comes up. That's coming up as the pooling hour. There's an energy shift there. Or the new moon, which is the same kind of thing, when there's no reflection. And then I got a scam call. And the number was so cool. It was at 12:59, so right before 1 o'clock. 12:59, 12 is the hangman, and 59 is the 5 of swords. But it's also the minute before the hour, before 1 o'clock. And the number came up, 717 was the area code. And then 400 and 0081. So I was just doing square root stuff. So of course 4 is a square root, 2 times 2, and 81 is also square root, 9 by 9. And 717, you all know, we always look for those numbers because the 1s and 7s have to do with the divine union. I was also getting with this phone number, no reflection or 0 point. Just like the new moon, it's neutral. Or the balanced twins. 2 intuitives turned on. So I was getting the 2 times 2 equals 4. The 2 intuitives turned on. And then the 81, the 9 by 9, is the 2 hermits turned off. Turned on, just like a light switch, on and off at the same time. The 0 point, the 717. All right. So 2 by 2, and the X in the middle is the X and the exponential energy of drama, right? The 2 by 2 and 9 by 9 cancel each other out. And then you end up with the 717, which doesn't have the multiplication symbol in the middle, has the 1, which is the balanced energy of the 7 and the 7, the 2 chariots in balanced energy of their chakra system. The King of Swords reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed, imprisoned together. The Hermit upright sheds light or wisdom on nothingness of the divine feminine. The Empress reverse in lack. At the workplace, expressing feelings, energy, or quick-paced travel or communication. Or the Hermit professional who cares for those in lack. Or in other words, hospitals, offices, churches, schools, etc. The masculine and the feminine in balance in the workplace, now going to the ancients for wisdom. And that was at 111. So now we're going into the workplace as far as discrimination and how there's always been an imbalance, there's always been more masculine oriented over the feminine, or them having power over the feminine. And again, that was at 111, which is the Magician and the Justice card. And Justice is just truth and balance. We turn the page going to the 12 of the Hangman, and the King of Swords reversed and the King of Cups reversed with a secret, or the High Priestess, psychic, or their own psychic abilities, or a Pisces, of Justice, Divorce, Libra, with new life or new money not yet announced or confirmed or called on yet. Letting go to repair, fix, or amend insecurities, manipulations, loss of tools of the trade and their abilities. Or partners are settling out, paid off to get out of jail, or a bailout. Floating coin and deliberations, or while business is closed or on strike, or tools or instruments or DNA strands, or in other words, people, are not working. Gabriel comes up again here, or the nickname Griel, their alter ego I was getting here, fell to earth, the fallen angel, because we weren't hearing them. To patch things up, even if you have to use your feet and toes. Your feet, my toes, anything goes. Bring it all to the table, let's see what you got. Like the rap wars, musical or poetic justice. Your fire and Isis. Don't be stingy or hold back. Use your crown and glory. Glory, glory, hallelujah. All right. Your unity consciousness or your undiddy consciousness. We are the world. We are the children. We are all the children. Don't minimize your abilities. I'm getting major connection. Don't minimize your abilities or hold your kids back from their natural talents. See their faces, what your body's created, the multiplication and division all at once. The quantum leap, the simultaneous explosion, implosion, the expand and contract, the go and the stop. The leap is the jump up and fall down all at the same time. Held in suspended animation, frozen in time, slow motion, to see. Remember the two and the C came up? So clearly now the rain is gone, collapsing all layers to birth you new players. To undo and then redo, the second chance, the second coming, R2D2, root 2 to divine 2 to C3's PO box. Special delivery right to your door, recovery from dark night of the soul, the implosion into nothingness to the vacuum and expand into everythingness, the bliss of ego death and the lovers together in Heroes Gamos, the players in the hero's game. And that was at 141, which is the Magician and the Ace of Cups.
App called Heroes. You could try searching the App Store.
Okay, there's your advice. 141, the Magician and the Ace of Cups. The worst is over of weakness in recovery to divine lovers. The 2020 Preakness. Okay, so the race of the stallions, the beautiful horses, where the centaurs come up all the time for the masculine. As the story goes, under the Preakness, one late summer evening in 1868, and so here the 68 comes up again, as well as another 8, and the moon, an agreement among sportsmen to stage a special race to commemorate a memorable occasion and became the foundation for the middle jewel of racing's triple crown. You notice that? The middle jewel of racing's triple crown. Okay? Above, below, and the middle. And that was from Preakness-stakes.com. And then as soon as I wrote that, and for 2020, it's on May 16th, the Preakness, if you're interested. And there's the Pimlico race course. I don't know how to say the name there. It's Baltimore, Maryland. And then the Biltmore Estates came up, which is North Carolina again. N is code Jesus, C is Christ. So North Carolina comes up as Jesus Christ, and South Carolina is Sophia Christ, Mr. and Mrs. Christ, but also is getting Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So at 149 is Magician, and 49 is the Nine of Cups, the Get Your Wish card. Vanderbilt's French Chateau is the Biltmore Estates in North Carolina, which is also in Asheville, North Carolina, which is a very psychic town. The area code's 28803. All right, so the 2, and I was just saying R2D2 going to C3PO, so we have 2 to 3, and then the 8 and the 8 next to each other, the zip code of the two twins, the masculine and feminine, both balanced in their masculine and feminine and dancing side by side, which is also equal to the infinity sign. So the soulmate comes up, and underneath that is love yourself first, as the underlying energies for the masculine. The battle is over as the King of Pentacles lost money and status in completion or coming full circle of awakening to a new life. No more Superman or spying on exes or holding back flame. The divine feminine is sealed in 5D, where Mitos revealed the stage set with billowing blues, pillows and comfort, and altar made just for you, with a heart right in the middle of it. No more hostage and examination or caterpillar all tied up. No more sneaky remote viewing or seeing dark goats around him. Heel and knee, holy healing with soul. Back to the present, Asian, and Asian, A-T-I-O-N, is starvation from no food. So back to the presentation or presentation or starvation of the present moment, the gift or memento. Spiritual partnership comes up as the underlying energy as well, which is number 27, the Ace of Wands. And beneath that is parenting, 63. 63 is the Nine of Swords. The suffering, the suffragette city card. The Emperor reversed with a negative past falling into the wrong group of people, fell on his face or from grace, or now came clean about it. The Page of Swords reversed and the King of Pentacles reversed, the Knight of Wands in separation, heartbreak from Sweet Chariot, all looking in different directions, turning the faucet on and off. The Knight of Wands is all systems go, but a delay in travel or communications or feelings not expressed, and the Queen of Swords in the Chariot looking out saying, what the heck is taking so long? And she's actually 7, right? The Chariot, that's V11, referencing like the 911, only this is V11, the feminine. As the Winged Emerald Order comes to bat, and then the XX comes up of the Judgment card. Judgment and balanced feminine, used to create music and dance to bridge the gap. And used to can also mean used to. Judgment of the imbalanced feminine used to create music and dance to bridge the gap between men and women. Final decision, announcement, wake-up call from the Most High, the Chariot, sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. Feelings and energetic exchange held back for a formal announcement from the air traffic controller, avoiding harsh words for just the right moment. Ground control to Major Tom and Asia Minor. I'm feeling very still, and may God's love be with you, from David Bowie. And that was at 212, the High Priestess, or the psychic abilities, and the 12 of the Hangman. Judgment to justice, to prison, to insecurity, inability to manipulate energy in your favor. Lovers, soulmates, start a new life, a spiritual partnership. Recently, that was your confirmation. The recent energy here is justice. The recent past is justice, where the word came down. Divorce, jail time, settlement, Libra, or justice prevails. Emotional cycle complete. Emotional fulfillment in soulmate connection, clearly happy or satisfied in the aftermath of sudden events or epiphany, of healing and dreams come true and shining his light. The foundation for the masculine today is guidance reversed, or the Hierophant reversed. Out of prison or anxiety, self-induced spins, comes the Knight of Cups, choosing the left, the Divine Feminine, the Twin, and implementing a plan. And that was at 221, which is the High Priestess and the world, or your psychic abilities in the world. Coming full circle, the Sealed Divine Feminine. The center energy for the masculine here is the Starseed reversed, lacking faith, with chaos and detox, or Capricorn reversed, not sharing, scammed, or settling out, imbalanced relationship in order to connect with High Priestess, a secret or psychic abilities, to dreams come true. The challenge being impatience, losing temper, fallen angel. Gabriel disoriented in the fall to earth, or DTs, withdrawing from alcohol. The sun reversed, no sun, drained, overexposed, or sick, and defenseless to the energies of the Ten of Cups family, happy together, drunk, and gossiping at the family gatherings. The Dark Knight faces the Queen of Cups, about that sham fam, and the parties, third-party gossip, and overindulgences. So this is the Dark Knight facing the Queen of Cups. Unstable, moving, ending marriage, or visiting, or staying at another's house. Confessions or dropping all burdens, responsibilities. The Star is present, or dreams come true, or dreams come true with a gift, or dream girl, or dirty old man, or unstable ill father, or narcissistic marriage is over in the aftermath of sudden jealous eruptions, impatience, loss of temper, over lovers and synchronicities, or options ignored, getting real about letting go of emotional attachments that don't serve, especially with defensive Empress reversed with bad childhood, or his mother who was abusive, or whole family and the Empress reversed, and difficult or sad kids, or kids with the grandmother and grieving a loss or regret, or at war with her past, the Empress reversed, or past returning to purge and grieve and now let it go. Now, crowning is the Eight of Pentacles reversed, done overwork or aligning with desires, or done whatever it is that isn't working. Third party, gossip, overindulging, starting over in love with great suffering. In a twist of fate, time goes slow, frustrating and sick and tired of painful ending in a call to action. Judgment Day. Getting a handle on third energy, frustrations and blocks, separation from blocks to offer a whole new life. Deception and divorce or break in contract, surrendering to the early hours before the sun comes up, the new moon in the aftermath of the Queen of Wands' jealous rage, and throwing everything out. Clearly impatient, explosive, and defenseless under the radar, frustration and anger of lover or over lover, impatience, drinking, depression, detoxing, the inequity of it. Removing the mask and learning a new trade, letting go or spending little to repair, fix, and amend. The Knight of Pentacles is offering help, fruit, a natural or practical something, to the Page of Cups with love. Or two kids coming together to figure out how to fix and to liberate lovers and the Queen of Pentacles reversed. And that was at 246, the High Priestess and the children in the garden, the Six of Cups. Soon is the Emperor reversed, inspired to break patterns instead of being at war with the Queen of Cups, who's just trying to find peace. Finding inspiration from his mistakes, with draining kids, illness, or overexposure. Holding his tongue or verbal abuse with the King of Cups reversed, lacking faith, falling from grace, unable to rest or sleep, now rising up to settle out and come to some kind of agreement, with the Queen of Wands reversed and the Empress reversed, who could be two separate people, a mother and daughter, or it could be the same person. The Divine Masculine is seeing himself as the Knight of Pentacles, and in the SIRIAN Starseed deck is very much a man with a proposal of justice, divorce, or Libra and balance. The Queen of Swords reversed, Page of Swords reversed, and the King of Wands reversed were all in a group here, versus the Knight of Wands upright and the Sovereign upright, who were both good. Maybe offering help to the losing party to get them on their feet again. But new love comes up here, separation, and romantic feelings for the Divine Masculine. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So, or besides even just trying to help the other part, the losing party, get back on their feet, also could be proposing to stand up in front of the justice to make peace. So that could be a justice of the peace. Or Sovereign moving while the Queen of Swords, Page of Swords, both reversed, and the King of Wands reversed, stay with justice or Libra, or they don't think the judge's decision was fair. So they were reversed, the other two were upright, the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles, or the Sovereign. Around the masculine, or how he's seen, is the Five of Swords, upright, the war, the difficult emotions, the impatience, angered by the truth of the world or completion, being the cause of difficult emotions to process, and the Ten of Pentacles family causing the impatience, and truth feeding the offer of love. Or the war is the truth versus love, the truth of impatience and bad emotions, and the love of the Seal Divine Feminine and abundant family or institution, the gold coin legacy around the world with love and the Divine Feminine involved with that family. Clear blocks of your higher self, Divine Masculine, which is your Divine Feminine twin. Grieving loss and regret and the need to let go of the past and the baton and the idea of bad luck. To be present to the nothingness, to ships coming in, no parties or trips, to have gratitude in every now moment. Financial discipline comes up, and even more so here in the numerology cards was manifestation for the masculine. In a twist of fate, recovering slowly without partner to support him, doing it on his own. The Four of Wands reversed, the 1111, lovers unstable or moving or ending marriage or visiting another location. The Queen of Wands reversed, not pleased with ideas, a big head, or awakening, or it's her own ego out of control, or she's just sick of it all. Moving or ending, home and or work, lovers at war, the Empress reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed, with kids or twins or the past returning in order for them to grieve and let it come up and out. Starting over, no longer an island unto himself, the Page of Pentacles, let's go to repair, along with the Page of Cups. One or two possibly painting the house together, while the Queen of Pentacles reversed deliberates where she's going or moving to. The King of Wands reversed shaman is at the workplace or Trinity, no sun, unhappy, drained, sick, overexposed, or just sick and tired of it. And that was at 313. The Empress and the Death transition or transformation. Rising above after a fight or competition, a battle or game, not working in a bold move to allow his insecurities, to sell his tools perhaps and offer his services, help, or a proposal of a loyal, humble servant, the dark horse as opposed to the dark knight. So dark knight in the 5D and the dark horse in the 3D. The prison of divorce, break from tradition, contract, or whatever you're used to, or spirituality and being different, the challenge of that. And the Knight of Pentacles humbled by the war within, his own guidance system. Justice, divorce, Libra or judge falls on face from grace or lacks faith, challenged by impatience, which also can be Sagittarius energy, lack of patience, losing temper, the Emperor reverse, also Aries energy, gives up his false hand to the higher self or his divine feminine, and no longer overworking and living in an unstable home. Starting over in love, the King of Wands reversed at the workplace, but sick or without Leo and or ego, just changing it up perhaps. Prison and or anxiety or justice, divorce or judge or Libra, and judgment now came down, or divorce or break in commitment, tripping up, overworking, and challenged by impatience or losing your temper. The Knight of Pentacles, Emperor reversed in war within and higher self. Secret or intuitive abilities. The Knight of Pentacles may be offering help to the Emperor reversed, or they can be one and the same. In the war within and higher self, secret or intuitive abilities to help move out of instability and start over in love, working on patience and illness, or without a Leo or ego at work, or just at work sick today. And that was at 323 to 24, which again is the Empress, the King of Wands, and the Queen of Wands. So that can have to do with the masculine and the partner and her mother, or it could be his mother as well. But whoever the masculine is very involved with, his parents or her parents, they're both coming up reversed today, along with the Queen of Wands reversed. So, or he just could be working sick today, loyal, humble servant that he is. And that's the end of the read. So I don't want to go on much more. It has been a long, energetic day for me today, and I still have some bills to take care of. So I'm going to pull you a card from the Kipper deck, and that'll be it for today. So I hope you appreciate that. It was a lot today. So the Kipper deck, for everyone watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned. What do we need to know? What do we need to learn? All right. Let's remove all negative energies and fill with only beautiful, divine love and diamond crystalline light across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all those concerned. And here's your card. The main male. Really interesting. Let's see what's next. The main male, toiling in labor. I just told you may be at work sick today. And there's the imprisonment. But don't forget, this is the cell splitting of the human body. So that's why that came up today, to remind you of that. And also the justice and the peace. Okay? Working very hard, splitting cells or hairs, all right, over a marriage or about a marriage. So, and also here's coming up, 777s, sudden wealth. All right, and then at the bottom of the deck, you have the mature man. Okay, so that can be the main male being the masculine. This could be his father or his father-in-law or someone who's older than him, his boss. But definitely someone who's involved with the adjudication process and the pathway, and somebody thinking about a lady, okay, after being concerned. Okay, guys, I'm going to show you the cards, so don't forget. Eight of Orbs is the underlying energy there. That's a Swords card. In the recent past, Divine Justice. The foundation here is Guidance. That's also the Hierophant card. Centrally, we have the Starseed, challenged by Alchemy, which is the Temperance card. The other underlying energies there, and the Eight of Pentacles, or Eight of Crystals up top there. And then scrolling across here, that 4D bridge, to where we're going is Reason, the Emperor reversed. Then below that is how the masculine sees himself, the Adept of Crystals, or the Knight of Pentacles. And around him is that 5 of Orbs. Above that is Higher Self, as the blocks he needs to clear. And then we end up on that 4 of Flames, which is reversed here. And you see the colors of the numerology deck, the underlying energies, the purple and yellow, and then the pinks that came out here, both pink. Yeah, we rarely get that because there's not that many pink cards in the deck. So a lot of compassion there. And then we have the 4 of Swords above the 4 of Flames, but that was reversed. The King of Wands, the Shaman there, he's reversed. The Trinity's upright, the 3 of Pentacles, and then above that was the Sun. And then we end up on the Knight of Pentacles, which is the way the masculine was seeing himself today. So that was really good. Okay, so do what you need to do. Drink your water, get your rest, get your joy, get your nature, and just be really good to yourself. Take care of these energies. And as always, guys, rise and be loved. Bye.